Welcome back to the Lazy Budget Travel Tips podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Franklin from the Traveling Franklins blog. Are you all in on points and miles and know that having a play or two will significantly boost your earnings, but your P2 just isn't on board yet? Well, you're going to love this episode. I'm sitting down with my husband, Brandon, to talk about his journey with points and miles. And we're diving into how he went from being a skeptical person about credit cards and this whole points and miles game to now being the one to nudge me when it's time to open a new travel rewards credit card. Hey, Brandon, thanks for
What's going
being
on?
here. You must really love me, don't
I
you?
do. I do. Thanks for having me.
Before we dive into today's conversation, I just want to quickly explain what a P2 is, especially for anyone who's not super familiar with the world of points and miles. For anyone who's new, a lot of people talk about points and miles like a game. The first person to get into it is called the player one or P1, which would be me and probably everybody who would be watching or listening to this podcast. They're the ones that do all of the research. They're getting super excited and then wanting to get their partner involved as well, hoping that their partner is going to be just as excited and gung ho about it as they are. And that's usually not the case. But we call that person the player two or the P2. They're usually the person who's a little bit more reluctant. They don't really fully get the hype and they don't really want to spend too much time on it. Or they kind of just think, that's cute. Why don't you go do that? And I'm just going to stay over here and just let you do that. So you can be absolutely successful on your own as a P1. Many people have done it. I was doing it for a while. You're probably doing it if you're listening to this. So, getting your P2 on board is really how you're going to be able to kick this game into high gear. And the reason is that when you work as a team, you can double your points earnings with really minimal effort. For example, we've referred each other for credit cards. So not only does one of us get a welcome bonus, but then the other person gets a referral bonus. Referral bonuses really, really add up over time. I mean, I think this was last year, or maybe it was the year before when we were really getting into the business credit cards. I knew we were
Mhm.
referring each other back and forth. We probably earned like 120,000 points on referral bonuses alone. And that's when one of the banks was giving like 40,000 bonus points for referrals. It's not like that anymore, but still, like that's a lot of points on referral bonuses alone. But
Yeah.
another benefit could be alternating between applying for credit cards because this helps avoid overloading your velocity, which is the number of credit card applications that you have within a short amount of time. We always say that you want to give it like 30, 60, 90 days, but you may have bigger expenses coming up within that, and you may not want to wait. So, having a P2 that can then apply for maybe that same credit card that you have so you guys can do the referral bonus or get a different credit card while you were kind of waiting really helps with your credit score. And then also, it just helps you double the amount of welcome bonuses that you can earn. So, really having a P2, and if you're able to implement that into your strategy, is really, really huge. So, anyways, I just wanted to explain that for anyone who may not know what a P2 is. But let's get into it. So, Brandon, do you remember when we first started talking about points and miles and kind of like what your initial reaction was?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, you're welcome because I think I'm probably the best P2 to have. Um,
Wow.
yeah. But yeah, I think I don't remember exactly, but I think it was a few years ago, and it kind of started off kind of what you alluded to, right? It was you had this idea of, oh, we can do this with points and miles, and I was kind of in that absent mindset of, okay, yeah, that's cool. You want to test out some credit cards or get some points. Like I didn't really understand.
Did you think it was crazy?
No, I wouldn't say crazy. It was kind of. I mean, it wasn't like you want to go spend a bunch of money, right, or do something really extravagant. It was like I want to make our vacations easier to take, or I want to use these benefits. So I saw the value that you were trying to get out of it, but I didn't really fully understand it. So that's when I was kind of like, I got my other things that I can focus on. You can, kind of do your thing, right? So
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So do you remember the first trip that we took when I used points?
I couldn't pinpoint it. No. Not the exact one, but I'm sure you told me about it, right? And said, "Oh, well, this one we're booking all on points." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's okay, cool."
Yeah, no, it was a good 10-ish years ago when before we even got married, we were planning a trip to Europe, and that was the first time you were going to Europe. I think I was going on like it was like an alumni college alumni trip, and I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
do you wanna go to Switzerland?" And you were like, "Heck yeah, I wanna go to."
Eh,
And I was just getting into points and miles with credit cards, and I was like, "Oh, well, we're spending all this money anyways. I don't really know what everyone's talking about out there with, like" there's just a lot of complicated strategies out there, and I'm like, "Well, I could just apply for this one credit card, use it for the expenses that we're already doing, and see if I earn this welcome bonus." It was 60,000 points at the time. And then maybe we could do a trip to London while we're already in Switzerland and then hop over to London. And then so the Marriott in Kensington, we got that free with free breakfast with points and miles. So
yeah, I think things like that started to make sense for me too. Like instead of trying to, uh, get a bunch of points to then plan a trip, right? If you already have a trip planned, right? And then you're going to be going on this trip anyways and spending money at the hotel or, with kids to do stuff or meals and things like that, then the money you're going to spend, right? You could use a credit card for that to help start to gain points for the next trip, right? So you can kind of start small, maybe if that works for you, kind of start small that way to see it in action kind of thing.
yeah, absolutely. Because for me, and I think it might be for you too, and like a lot of people, it doesn't really click until you really do it yourself. It was really cool and stuff to see these people taking out all these credit cards and doing crazy things with all these points and stuff. But for me, I was hooked after we got those 3 nights in London for free. Like I was in it. And that was because I actually did it for myself. What about for you? How did you feel about credit cards before this? And at what point did you start paying attention and saying, yes, this would work for us?
Yeah, so I'll start at the most recent and then go back in time. So I think when it clicked for me is similar to like you said, when you actually see it, right? Like when I applied for my first card and actually went through setting up the bills that I would pay to actually hit that bonus. So you actually see it in your account, you see the progress you make, and then you see the points come in. Whereas before it was abstracted away where you're like, hey, we got all these points. I'm like, I don't see it. I don't know. Okay. It was kind of just in the background type of thing. But where my hesitation was growing up, my first credit card in my teenage years, it was free money to me, right? And as you grow up and become an adult and actually have responsibilities, you realize, okay, yeah, this $600 limit I got on a credit card isn't, free gas. It's not free movie nights out with the boys type of thing. It's something you got to pay for. And if you don't pay for it, then they're going to charge you, a heck of a lot for interest for it, upwards 20, 25%. So, um, we'll get into, how you need some discipline for that too. But I was hesitant to get my own credit cards for that reason, until I built up that confidence and discipline to then do it myself. And then I think we're in a pretty good spot now to continue that.
Right. Yeah. So what would you say your thoughts were when I asked you to apply for your first credit card? Travel.
I think by that time I was in it because I had seen the value, um, from what you had already done. And
Mhm.
when it was kind of explained to me at the, explain it like on 5 level, which I'm a fan of, it's you're gonna be spending this money anyways, right? You have bills, you have fixed amount of, utilities and mortgage and things like that or rent, like any of that stuff that you're already gonna pay, if you can pay that on a credit card, then you're already gonna be spending it. So why not benefit from, those repeat expenses that you're gonna have, right? So that kind of clicked for me. And so when you said, "Hey, it's time for you to apply," if we spend this amount in 3 months, we get this many points. And then I just had the follow-up question of, okay, well, what do those points get us? Well, that could get us a free, 3 or 4 night stay somewhere. I'm like, okay, well, that started to make sense to me, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm already
Yeah.
spending the money anyways. Why don't I benefit from it? So I was like, all right, I'm down.
So I know that there's a lot of people like in the Facebook group and a lot of people that I talk to, they will say to me, "Listen, I'm all into this. I know that applying for credit cards, it's not going to hurt my credit score. It actually could improve it. I know that if I have another person like doing this with me, then we can really double our points earnings and, really not spend more than we already are going to. But my partner is t- totally and utterly against credit cards.
Mhm.
And their main reason is they don't want to get into debt. What would you tell that person?
I mean, I kind of lived that. So, I mean, really what I had to do was I had to build my own confidence and discipline. And really that just come down to, growing up around how I leverage debt, right? So it's just understanding, okay, if I can leverage somebody else's money to pay for things that I need to pay for anyways, and then I can benefit from it, then that's what I'm gonna do, right? And yeah, it's someone else's money for the time being, right? Like you obviously have to pay it back, but you're just leveraging it in the interim. So that kind of the growing up thing, the building up that confidence and actually seeing it happen, I think helped me too, right? Like seeing the actual numbers. So, right, if you had come to me and like show me, okay, here's our bank statement, here's how much we spent anyways, and look at all these points. And then here, let's go into the portal and let's look at a hotel and we can redeem, we got 80,000 points. You want to go on a staycation to Miami, Orlando, or whatever. And look, we can stay for free for 3 nights at this Regency or wherever. Oh, I complete the full circle in my head. Right. So then
Mm.
I can get on board. So I hope that kinda answers the
Yeah.
question
And
in a
then, like,
roundabout way. But
was there a trip that we took? Because I know you don't remember our first trip where it hooked me. Like, you don't remember that. You remember the trip, obviously.
yeah,
You just don't remember that we did it on points and stuff. So, like, what
yeah.
was the trip for you?
And that was when we went to the ranch in Colorado because I was blown away by the experience there, like, the attention to detail that they had was an intimate setting, we were, like, completely off well, not really off the grid, but, like, out of cell service.
We were pretty off the grid, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, we had running water and electricity,
Oh, yeah. I know you we were in the
just
middle
don't
of nowhere and had no internet.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we were in Colorado, that's when it kinda clicked because you were like, "Look, this is how many points it cost versus how much it would have been dollar-wise to spend a night." So whenever we talk about, that trip we went out to Colorado and Wyoming when we stayed at Rewa, we're like, "This was crazy," because I think it was what? It would have been like 15, $1,700 a night or something like that, and then we spent, like, a ridiculous 17,000 points. I don't it was
Yeah, it
ludicrous,
was
the dollar to point
yeah.
ratio that we got.
Mhm.
That's when it really clicked. I saw the value of that,
Yeah,
and that
that
was
was
super fun, right? We did horseback riding and fly
mhm.
fishing, so, I mean, we had a blast. That was a good time.
Yeah, so that was Raywall Ranch in
Yeah,
Colorado.
yeah,
And, yeah, so we used Hyatt points. They no longer partner with Hyatt. It was through the small luxury hotels partnership that Hyatt had, just to give people a little bit of background on that
yeah,
redemption because it was pretty cool. So, yeah, they're through the small luxury hotels, and that was a partnership that Hyatt had, and they no longer have that partnership. That partnership actually went to Hilton. So you can still do that, just without Hyatt points. You'd have to have Hilton points, but we just stayed there for 3 nights, and we spent 105,000 points for 3 nights and $0. It was a luxury ranch experience.
yeah,
So we stayed in a luxury cabin. They had coffee service for us every morning that they brought out to the cabin. We had our own golf cart that we could use for those 3 nights. We had chef prepared meals for each meal of the day. They had entertainment for us. I mean, we had, like, an astronomer. Is that what they're called?
yeah, and that guy that came with the, lady with the fiddle too, right?
Yes,
Well,
yes,
so
we
we
had,
had,
like,
like,
a
a
private
private that was a blast.
yeah, that was really cool. So, I mean, that's definitely an experience that I would say would, for anybody, be like, "Okay, yeah, I'm in."
Yeah.
For sure. And
Yeah.
for me, it was just 3 free nights in London. But it just goes to show that it can be like those 3 free nights in London for your P2, right? Like, it could be that, where you just have to
Yeah.
show them what points and miles can do for them, and just knowing that you can get more for your money. I mean, like, with inflation and with things just generally getting more and more expensive, you want your hard-earned money to stretch as far as possible, right?
Yeah, that's where it clicked for me too. I'm the data guy, right? So I wanna see, okay, I would have spent this much money, but instead I didn't have to because we spent this points, and then what did we spend to get those points? Money we were gonna spend on shit anyways.
100%.
I'm the silent P2. Well, I'm a little more active now.
What do you mean you're a little bit more active now? Would you just let them know, like, what you mean by that?
Oh, now I'm the one thinking about, "Oh, like, did we apply for a credit card too recent? Can we apply for another one? Because, we have this expense coming up, and I don't know which one we should apply for, but I'm thinking about it if we're gonna have to spend, some money anyways because, meat's getting low in the deep freeze, so we wanna get a quarter cow or something, right? Like, do we need to get a credit card? Because then we can put it on that and then benefit from, back again, right? Like, money we were gonna spend anyways and just benefit from it.
So, how long would you say it took for you to get to that?
Well, I mean, if the first trip you did was 10 years ago, I mean, 7 or 8 years,
So
once you showed me it, it was very quick, right? Like, once I drew the dots together and, built my own kinda mental model, then that was it.
yeah, it was definitely for us personally, it was definitely a slow burn, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was learning it too. Like, I was
Yeah.
also wrapping my head around it at the same time. So that's probably why it took so long. I don't think for everybody it needs to, which is why we're kinda having this because I feel like if I would've, like you said 7 years ago been like, "Look, this is how much money like, this is how I got the points. This is how much money I would have spent for this hotel stay versus using points. Like, if I would have explained that to you, then you probably would have been on board a lot sooner. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
I didn't really back then, I didn't even know what a P2 was, to be honest. I was just kinda, like, doing that. So
Well, I think that's good to have the difference between the P1 and P2 because I've definitely come to you before and been like, "Oh, well, why I got this thing in the mail?" And you're like, "Well, this and that, and like they have annual fees." But I'm like, "Oh, well, if we go to Disney, we can sit in like the grandstand. So if they have fireworks," and you're like, "Ah, but is it worth it?" So it's good to have the P1 and P2 like
dynamic.
I might have ideas, but you kinda are closer to the metal on it where you can say, "Okay, you know, that either makes sense or it doesn't make sense as far as, the benefits versus the card that we're looking at," right? Whether it's a business card or whatever.
Right. So, yeah, love the transition into talking about annual fees. And there's nothing wrong with annual fees. I know we have a question about like how do you justify or explain annual fees to your P2? And I know for me personally, me as a P1, how I wrap my head around annual fees. And yeah, like, some credit cards have higher annual fees than others. And it really depends on your lifestyle, what you're willing to do in order to justify those fees. Like if they have a bunch of credits, are you willing to spend a lot of time in making sure that you maximize every credit? Or are some of the benefits that the credit card has alone gonna just be worth that annual fee? And I
Yeah,
think that the answer to whether or not it's worth it is gonna be different for each person and each credit card as well, because all of them are different. For
yeah,
example, the first credit card that I ever had, there's no "we," especially in this. If I have a credit card, you have a credit card. There's also authorized users, which is a whole other thing that we won't really get into right
yeah,
now. But yeah, if you're an authorized user, that doesn't mean you're a primary card holder. So it's still the primary card holders. But anyways, so the first
yeah.
credit card that I ever got for travel rewards had $95 annual fee. And I know that I've kind of explained this to you like this before. It's like any membership sort of, right? Like
Mhm.
you have a Costco membership, right? You're paying money to spend money somewhere else. And the reason why you're doing that is because you know that it's going to be worth it to you. So, $95 annual fee for the first year, if I am able to meet the minimum spend for that welcome bonus, then I'm going to get probably at least $1,000 in travel. So, Brandon, as the numbers guy, if I came to you and said, look, we can get $1,000, but we just have to pay $95, what would you say?
I mean, that's where it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
the other perks on top of it, if you get them, right? But then I could see, like, if you look at somewhere where it's like, "Oh, this is 6 or $700 a year," then that's where it starts to get a little different, right? But you'd have to look into more detail as to what that offer is or that card, right? So,
Right. Yeah. Specifically, like I said, it really depends on the credit card offer. And, you know, $695 is a lot of money for an annual fee. But again, if you travel a lot and you'll be able to go to those airport lounges, or if you already spend money at the places that they offer credits, and it's
yeah,
really not going to be that much of an effort for you to be able to maximize. I mean, I was talking to somebody on a podcast the other day, and they were telling me that they have an airline credit card that was like a $500 annual fee, and they have a fear of flying. And they said that they go to every time they fly out, they always fly out of that same airport, so they can always go to
mhm,
that same lounge. And they said to have that space where
yeah,
they can be before their flight is to them alone is worth it. And sometimes it isn't just about the hard data. It's more about what you hold valuable. We can talk about for you, Brandon, like when it comes to flying overseas and really long flights, you want to be comfortable, right? So we are going to the UK in October and we spent points for Virgin Atlantic on upper class. And what if I told you, hey, we had to get a credit card that was a $695 annual fee in order to hit the bonus for us to get those business class flights for pennies on the dollar? How would you feel about that? Hey guys, it's Jenny here. Sorry to interrupt. If you love the podcast, I've got a free budget travel 101 course to help you start saving on flights, hotels, and more. Grab it at travelingfranklins.com/budget travel 101 or check the show notes. Want to connect with other like-minded travelers? Join the Lazy Budget Travel Tips Facebook group. I share more tips, host live Q&As, and keep you up to date on the latest. And if you're looking to show your support, check out my affiliate links or buy me a coffee. Back to the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably still try to quantify it somehow by numbers, right? Like, okay, if we have to spend this annual fee, but then if the points we get are going to be more valuable than if we just had to pay in cash for the tickets, because I don't want to compromise on that experience while flying, then it's going to make sense. But you bring up a good point that it might go beyond just the dollar value redemption and dig a little deeper into your own comfort level, mental health, right? When you want to fly, because I have one of my best friends will not fly. So he's in that same boat.
So, all right, between me and you, how many credit cards do we apply for per year? And how do we kind of space out the cards? Do you know the answer to that? I know the answer, but do you know?
I'll take a guess. I think it's about every 3 months we try to apply for one and then we alternate. Right? So
Mhm.
because we both have businesses, if there's an offer for a business card, then I'll apply for a business one and then we'll kind of roll with that, make sure we hit the minimum spend. And then once we're in a comfortable place, then I can refer you to the other one. And then once we hit that, at least that works for us, right? Is kind of rolling them rather than, oh, I'm going to apply for two at the same time, because then we would have to struggle to hit that minimum spend and have to go find ways to spend money to hit the minimum spend. And I don't think that's a good idea for us, or in my opinion, I don't think that's a good idea for anybody who's, trying to justify spending money to hit a minimum spend. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so I mean, like, that's kind of it's like kind of like once a quarter maybe we get
Yeah, yeah.
one, but that's because we will have like car insurance that we're paying. And then at the end of the year, we have like property taxes. So we usually have bigger expenses coming up to justify getting a new credit card and then being able to space those out like that. So I would say 3 to 4 a year. In the last couple years, I think so. But like there were some years there where I applied for 1 credit card like the whole.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really just depends on your comfort level. And, it took us a while to get to this point. And I think starting slow is really what's gonna help with a long-term strategy because I
Yep.
know we've talked about this. We're really in this for the long game, and this should be a long game, to be honest. I mean, you're talking about your credit score and stuff. Like, you wanna make sure that you have those foundations kinda laid down because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I was applying for cards and now I got denied because of velocity," and
Hmm.
or like, "Oh, I wasn't paying off my credit card statement on time and in full, so now my credit score took a dive," or whatever. You really wanna make sure that you know those things. I mean, we can talk about the, the benefits of points and miles and how amazing they are
Yeah.
all day long. But if you don't have that foundation built prior, then, you're probably going to sink pretty quick. um, so it's just like a good idea to just really do what's best for you. And in order for you to know that, you would need to kind of build that foundational knowledge, which is one of the reasons why I have the podcast. And I'm I'm releasing episodes that are like foundational knowledge and then bringing in people like you to kind of like also put like relatability there as well because talking about concepts is great, but then you really want to hear like what real people are doing. So, anyways, I hope that that answers the question long-windedly.
Well, I mean, most people go on vacation, they try to go once a year, right? So you think
Mhm.
even if you apply for a new credit card once a year, right, to build that foundation, like you said, that could significantly take a chunk out of the expenses that you would, you know, be spending on that vacation. And you're going to get that from the expenses you already pay for. So back to what we're talking about, it's where it kind of clicked, right? Like if we're going to go on vacation and I can use points for that, why not use that to my advantage type of thing?
Okay. So, let's talk about like some fun stuff. So, like, if you could pick one free flight anywhere right now, where would it be?
Japan?
Yeah. And we are working on that, aren't we? We have been
Yes, we are.
dashing our point, and I'm just doing some research, and you guys will be hearing about all that planning very soon. But Japan is definitely high on the list. And then, like, were there any besides Ray Rob Ranch that you would want to say that you remember that we used points for that was cool?
Um,
Or is that
I
like
mean,
really the one?
yeah, that one sticks out the most just because the value, I think was through the roof, right? And the experiences we were able to have there, and the fact that we would not have been able to afford it if we didn't have the points to use for it, right? So we're able to leverage the points we got to have an experience that we couldn't afford. But the only reason we got that is because, we were able to take out cards and use the credit on them for stuff we were gonna pay for anyways. I did like where we just stayed at the Hyatt Grand, but, that's just because that was recent. That was like a little staycation that we had where we went to Orlando and did not go to Disney, so it was nice to just kinda chill, go to the beach and go on the hammock and just kinda hang out and read, so that was nice because it was, "Hey, we wanna do something just for us," and, we were able to do it without, any cost other than gas, right, and a night out and dinner, so,
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. So we stayed at the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress in Orlando, last weekend, I think.
I
This
was
past
recent.
week, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't remember. And it was a semi last minute decision. I mean, we had booked it a few weeks in advance, but that's another thing about points and miles that I would like to touch on is that like it doesn't have to be for these luxurious trips or business class
Yeah.
flight. I mean, we had such a busy month, like busy holidays, and January came and it was super busy, then it was February, and we were just kinda like, "Wouldn't it be nice for us to kinda just get away and just, like, relax?" And it was gonna be $757, I think I checked when I was booking. It was gonna be, like, $757 to stay 2 nights at the Hyatt Regency Grand Cypress, but we paid $0, and that's thanks to points and miles. So, like, just being able to do that is pretty priceless to me, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree.
So, that was pretty cool. Brandon, so for anyone who's listening to this, if there's one piece of advice that you would give a P1 or their P2, if we were at a Points and Miles meetup, which you figured out that that was a real thing a couple years ago. Let's say we're at Points and Miles meetup and we're talking to a P1 and a prospective P2. If you could give either of them or both of them advice coming from us, now that I believe that we are a pretty successful team at this, what would you tell them?
Well, there's kinda 2 parts to that answer from me, right? Like, so to the P1 that's trying to get into it or going to the meetups and thinking about how to do it, It can definitely be overwhelming. I mean, I was overwhelmed when I went to some of the things we've been to and listened to people talk about it. And it's like, oh, I don't know half the stuff they're talking about. But so for the P1, I would say it doesn't have to be, 0 to 100, right? Like you can just start very small. Like we were talking about one for the year, right? And it's the money that you're going to spend anyways, right? And I don't know, I'm going to butcher the quote, right? But it's like, you know, every journey starts with a first step or something like that. Every staircase is built one step at that whole, that whole stuff. So like you just got to start, right? And then when you see it actually happen, then you're like, oh, I can do this, right? Like I got this. Okay. And then it's going to snowball from there. And then I think that kind of rolls into the P2 is if the P1's trying to get the P2 involved, show them the proof kind of thing. Be like, look, I've been looking into this. If we, spend this money and we can get this back, then, that trip you want to go on or we want to take the kids, right? Like we can do that without spending that additional money that we might have been concerned about doing because, we didn't have the extra funds. Well, this is a way to supplement that. And then once they see that, then they'll gain the confidence as well and hopefully get on board. So that's kind of my take on it because that's what works for me. I like to see the proof, right? Um,
The proof is in the pudding.
yeah, I mean, you can talk about the concepts, right, and a theory behind it, but actually seeing it happen and experiencing it for yourself, I think that's where it kind of clicks.
Yeah, totally. And then, like, for anybody who says, well, it's really hard for me to have a credit card and treat it like a debit card. What would you say to them and like how did you kind of get over that? Cuz I know that that's what you said in the beginning is that you were like, well, it's
Yeah.
free money, you know?
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I had to use a debit card because I had to be strict with myself and say, I can't use a credit card because if it doesn't come out of my bank account right away, then I don't see it, right? So I just had to I just really had to grow up with it, and kind of build that self-discipline around my money and in finance because at least the, public high school I went to and college I went to, they didn't teach you about financial literacy, right? You kind of had to learn that on your own or, experience it and live through it. So I kind of had to grow up in that regard as far as just being disciplined about spending money on things that you were gonna spend anyways.
But as long as you pay your statement balance off
Yep,
on time and in full, you don't get any credit card
yep.
debt. And it's something that takes time. I mean, you probably went many years in your 20s just using your debit card. So, I mean, if it takes time for your P2, whoever's listening, if it's going to take them time to kind of like learn that discipline, be that example. Show them that you can do it. And eventually it may click for them. And I know that listening to this, you may think, oh, but I don't have this time. I want to earn all these points. But you can't push somebody to do something unless they want to do it. And one of the things that I've heard from other successful teams and also what worked for us is to just be that example, show them, it's better. I think it works better to show than to tell, instead of
Yeah.
show and tell. Like you want to show them instead of just telling them. So just be patient and focus on you first before you can focus on that other person. Make sure that
Yeah.
you know what's going on and you're comfortable, and then it'll be a lot easier to get your P2 on board. Would you agree?
But yeah, and to that point, one of the things that you showed me was also like your credit score, right? And I'm sitting there going, well, I'm just using my debit card. That's not helping my credit score. And that also takes time too, right? So getting that discipline and that confidence to then over time build up your credit score, right? Because, you're actually using a credit card rather than just your debit card and you have that confidence, then you can start to build that back up.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you, Brandon, for joining us today. You gave us a lot of really great information. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I did. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and then for those who are listening, I hope you loved this episode and it gives you the confidence to get your player 2 or your P2 on board with this whole points and miles game. And remember, keep it simple, keep it fun, and keep exploring. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks, guys. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Next, go grab our free Budget Travel 101 course. You'll find it in the show notes or at travelingfranklins.com. And join the community. The Lazy Budget Travel Tips Facebook group is ready and waiting for you. I'm excited to see you there, and I'll catch you in the next episode.